Friday, the 14th of March. You've seen them on social media, memes, those funny pictures. Sometimes they're videos, but mostly here we see a lot of pictures making fun of various situations. And I'm joined by Chelagat, head of social media here at Standard Group, to talk more about them. And where do they come from, memes? Because they're usually quite a hit and they'll trend and you'll be like, oh my gosh, Kenyans, really?
Yes, usually you'll find that these funny pictures that you'll find, or pictures that have a lot of character.
Yes.
So people take these pictures that have a lot of character and they keep them. So the moment maybe some news breaks, for example, the Mutudo stories, someone quickly types it, and types like an interesting word, and yeah, that's how one of them starts. Another thing that people do is they take snippets from movies. We all know these crazy parts in movies where either someone reacts in a certain way or says something funny, and they have this weird expression. You know how you can just pause it when someone's in the middle of a word and they have this weird expression. Someone pauses it there, takes a screenshot, and it's like OMG, something like that.
Yeah,
yes.
And I remember when Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl, there were quite a number of them that did rounds. She was even so upset. There was a statement released and saying, hey, run out, paparazzi, and everyone should wait for her to give pictures off of her. So usually a lot of them will be humor, is what guys will derive from that. But do they serve any other purpose other than
Yes, sometimes, aside from humor, you'll find that people use it a lot, especially in the Kenyan context, to grow their pages. There's a guy called Christian Della. So what he does is when something happens, and I think one of the ones that we'll see later on, he just takes like a very interesting meme and then makes sure that he has his at Christian Della there, so that, as you continue to tweet it and laugh about it, you'll end up finding that, I could follow this guy for more. But also you'll find that because of how memes go viral, you'll find that many advertisers are now looking to the guys who they know always make memes, like now in the West and in other places. They look for guys who make memes and they use them to advertise their products.
Really?
Yes, because they're
so
sure guys who
business.
Yes, it can. A good example is, it's not a meme, but it runs around the same concept. The Fine Bangai. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He's so funny. He has the most ridiculous things.
Yes.
And when you watch what he says and what he does, you enjoy it. And then at the end of the day, you'll get the message about fiber.
Yeah.
So now the same concept is used when it comes to memes.
All right. And so you'd say they're popular because, one, they will make you laugh, but also that it's looking at life on a lighter note. And sometimes it's getting these very serious people or these celebrities who imagine would never, how people, they don't imagine when some people sneeze and then you catch them going like,
I know.
So is that what makes them popular?
It makes them popular because it's usually the humor comes in two ways. One, because someone is completely out of their context.
Yes.
Number two is also because of the caption. You know how we have this caption, these things.
Yes.
Sometimes the captions are just what kills it.
Yeah.
And also I think in our lives we tend to be so busy sometimes that you want that comic relief. So when you find a very ridiculous one, like one of my favorite ones was Steam Panda. So instead of writing Steam Panda, they have Steam, like the Steam.
Yeah.
Then they have a panda animal. So Steam panda. I was like, really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And when you're slammed with work and you've had a busy day and you come across one of those,
yes,
and you just feel like, oh, I have to share the joy now, and then you share it, and that's why they become popular.
They become popular. I remember I saw one the other day of President Uhuru Kenyatta and him looking very shocked after Olelenku's interview with the one he did, and really it was just chaotic. It was so bad. So you see the president like, my guy. So they are quite interesting, and it shows the creativity of very many people. But how do they come about with some of them? Some of them are really pictures that, as you said, when somebody's those very quick scenes captures it, but for some it's a little bit of work done to change it.
Yes, actually there's several ways you can do it. There are guys who if you just search meme generators, because of how much fun memes are, there are websites that actually help you generate memes. So they have like a whole bank of photos from very interesting movies, or just times when celebrities have been caught off guard. So all you have to do is just go on Photoshop or any of the other photo editing tools and just put in your caption. So that's one of the ways that people do it. Then there are others who basically just pick on other people's, slice out a bit and write whatever they want to write.
Yeah, because we've seen some of our politicians with the diapers and all that, and you're like, clearly
Photoshop does wonders.
Photoshop does wonders. Let's have a look at some of them. Maybe a director can put up some of the memes that we have, and here's one. Yes.
When this one surfaced initially, they said, you see, Lupita's been around for a long time. Then immediately after, because of how Sonko photoshopped himself to the Mandela photo, guys photoshopped Sonko into this thing. You see, even Sonko was here. Yeah.
The 200 shilling note.
And you see, that's a guy I was telling you, Christian Della. He's the same guy who usually makes a lot of these
memes. The same guy. And this, of course, trying to depict the scene from 12 Years a Slave.
Yes.
Where we've, of course, seen quite a number of those. Then there's another one. People and Kenyans creativity. Mutudho. Nimesikia ukifungua Tusker hii ni sangapi? Kwani uko na house party? The guy who's
this was after the house. Remember the house party rules came about, and guys were saying that you can't drink in your house, and that they'll be able to come in and inspect whether they're drinking alcohol.
Right.
So guys were saying Mtudo will be sneaking around and creeping.
And that you have to pay. He's always the guy. People always imagine this guy does not want us to drink. Oh, then there's this one. John Mtudo eviction bash all over K. Keep walking. I remember this was quite and he knew about the funny thing for him. He always gets wind of what's happening.
He's on Twitter actually.
Because I remember when he came for Friday briefing, and Betty talked to him about it. Was like, I know there are people who are having an eviction bash, but I'll be back. And indeed, he did come back.
And then did you see the ones for I'm back?
I know.
So what happened is he had this is another Mutudo one. They had Mutudo who was like in a coffin, and then he was coming out of the coffin. Then guys were running. He's like, I'm back.
I'm back. I know.
When he was appointed. And
and then there's the laptops.
Yes. This was after Uhuru announced during the campaign period that they're going to start giving out laptops. So they're like, "Yo, look at the laptop."
And everyone's looking at them like, "Oh, you too."
Yes.
This is so insane. The people who come up with this stuff.
I know.
Because as you said, it's good. Especially when you're having a long, stressful day. This definitely will lift you up. And you've seen even the time those the quails. There's one that the president was in, the former president and Uhuru Kenyatta. That was quite interesting. So when they come up with this, the people who do, like the gentleman you're mentioning, they just put them out online, and it's about how popular they get. And you said now there's advertising coming along with that, so it's becoming profitable.
Yes. And also I think the other thing that especially for people now who are in the communications end of it, we also look at it as ways to communicate, because you can really tell what people are thinking about something from the jokes they make out of it. So generally it's that. Then sometimes it's just wanting to really make fun of people. Like, remember the size 8 Mateke one?
Those Matekes were serious.
I think she can like do yoga or something,
I know.
But then everyone is just like making fun of it. But I mean, that's one of the ways you can tell, kind of like check the temperature of the Kenyan community online. It's kind of the jokes they make, because you only make a joke about something because you have a relationship with it or you find it funny. So yes, but there's a lot of advertising in the West that's coming because of that. Another way that there's a guy who does prank videos in the US. It started like a joke, just something you want to pass around with your friends. Then now he's being paid, and that's his full-time job.
Wow.
Yes, to just do those prank videos. And we're also seeing that event organizers are using it. There's a guy who usually does a What's Up Africa thing. When you're on YouTube, you always see his videos. And when he was doing he was going for the Nigeria social media week, what he did is he made a very interesting one about dictators and, these funny apps that dictators would use.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, then for this memes to become a hit, it has to be people we know, people we relate with. You're like this celebrity, this known person. It can't just be anyone, right?
Yes, because the joke will make sense. I don't know if you've ever watched like British humor, and because the humor is so contextual, everyone else is laughing and you're thinking, I didn't get that
You're
one.
not buying it.
So I mean, the same thing for the memes. For them to actually be funny and make sense, you have to actually be able to relate. Although some of them are just slapstick humor. Some things that you look at, you're like, okay, poor guy,
And the word memes, people have issues with pronunciation. They're like memes. What have I had? I've had memes. I've had memes. So it's memes.
It should be memes because it comes from the anthropological word meme, which means it's a character or a habit that is learned from one person to another. That's in the anthropological sense. But now when it comes to the internet, it's information, videos, those funny photos that are passed on from one person to another. Yes.
And what if you're offended? Like, say there's one out of me out there and I'm like, I don't want this. Can you seek recourse? Is there ways to report it if you don't want?
The challenge is, how do you prove that it came from that person? I mean, aside from the ones where people have branded their names, but how can you actually prove? that they came from that person. And we found, like in Kenya, some people have taken bloggers to court for things that the bloggers have written, but it's very hard to actually prove, you know, especially on Twitter. How will you prove that I'm not being impersonated? How can you prove that it's my official account? So that's where the problem is. But the goodness with it is that in Kenya, and generally across the world, it's like a very quick news cycle, you know. After 24 hours, I mean, they've moved on to the next joke. So
that's what I was just about to say. The good thing, we're watching, what was watching with Mary the other day, and was saying, you know, the good thing with Kenya, no matter what hot soup you find yourself in, with time, people have moved on to something else. You have forgotten the whole, you know, all of that. But of course, people want to seek recourse, want people to stop talking about it. But I guess the more you tell people not to, more people find out. So is it something you can do by yourself? You just need to be able to get the apps or whatever.
What you can do, just go online, go Google a memes generator. Then you'll find you'll find all these interesting memes there. If you're Photoshop handy, or if you just know even a little bit of Photoshop, you find an interesting photo. All you have to do, like what we saw the ones for the kids, at the bottom, you know, you just type whatever it is that you want to type. So yeah, it's not really hard to do. It's just, I think the only difference is why some memes make it really big is that the people who push them have a great following online.
But they shouldn't be offensive. We should always be careful in putting them out, propagating or pushing out their racism, those kind of issues. It should be something just on a light note, right?
Ideally.
Guys should be careful with that. Well, thank you, Joy, for joining us. Memes this morning.